Network Sales Manager is Dan Stores. Network Director is Kevin Shockey. Chief Network Engineer is Jason Gorodetzer. Senior Vice President of the Altitude Radio Network is Dave Fleck.
You want a hard-working team? There it is right there.
This broadcast was a presentation of the National Hockey League and the Altitude Radio Network.
Three seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and it's a good night in Toronto. Started out poorly, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And the Avalanche finished with a 5-3 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Colorado is 9-1-1 in their last 11 games. And they improved to 28-12-3, 59 points inside the Central Division.
Five unanswered goals for the Colorado Avalanche on their first game of a five-game road trip, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Boston, and Philly. 5 unanswered goals as the Avs were down 3-0 to start this one. A couple of bad bounces going the way of the Leafs early on, but Colorado pretty clearly the better team on the ice for those first 20. They just found a way to be down. They got the bounces back for themselves, scoring 2 of their own in the middle frame, and then the hottest team in the third period this entire year, your Avs, come back. They score 3 goals in the third, including an empty netter, and 5-3 is your final from Scotiabank Center. Welcome into Between the Pipes. I'm your host, Alex Ryan-Emmy. You guys know me better as Raj, joined as always by super producer Steve Nelson, and my co-host, my partner, the radio machine, Mark Springer, on a frigid Saturday evening.
Yeah, I did think Toronto was the better team in the first period. Maybe a little bit of luck there. They played last night. So this is the second night of a back-to-back for Toronto. So the Avs did have that going for them. In fact, they were up 3-1 just across the street in Long Island. Oh, they played a couple nights ago. Never mind. I'm losing sense of time here with this cold. Either way, they did blow a 2-goal lead in that game. They were up 3-1. They lost in overtime 4-3. Tonight they blow a 3-goal lead. But for the Avs, with the news that Valeri Nichushkin was not going to play in this game, it gave me some pause for concern because you're in Toronto. That is a good team. Interesting stat I saw tonight. Like since November 13th, I think it was November 13th, your 2 leading goal scorers in the NHL tied at 20 are Austin Matthews and Valeri Nichushkin. So no Choo-Choo. I thought that was a big deal. Obviously, Jonathan Drouin has been playing well, and he played well again tonight, but without Nichushkin, I was concerned about some depth. Going on this 5-game road trip, Mark Mosier forgets his passport, holds up the team plane. That opening goal by Toronto tonight reminded me, they used to go with Hall & Oates for their goal song. Now they do Van Halen. And Mark Mosier loves Van Halen. I think it's his favorite band. And so he forgets his passport. You're in Toronto. A good team. Max Domi scores off of Josh Manson's chest after Josh Manson just barely couldn't get the red line and they called icing, and that was an ensuing faceoff in the Avs D zone. Domi scores in a weird way off that play. Then Morgan Riley, a good solo effort. You got to give him credit there. Stripping Devon Taves. Great backhand goal. Van Halen plays again. And then the Leafs would score a third first period goal. And Van Halen plays again. And I'm just thinking, man, this is what we get for Mosier forgetting his forgetting his passport. We're getting trolled here in the ultimate way. The universe is aligned. Van Halen is trolling Moj. And that's wrong because Mosier loves Van Halen. The good news is that the Avs, man, the fact for some reason I thought Toronto played last night. The fact that this wasn't the second night of a back-to-back for Toronto, oh, yikes. That's a bad loss at home for the Leafs with no Nichushkin. That's a really bad loss.
It all starts, this comeback, with a power play where the Avs win a draw. McKinnon gets it. There's a penalty on the ensuing faceoff, and Nathan McKinnon is attempting to give the puck to TJ Brodie to try and get a 5-on-3, an extended 5-on-3 look for the Avs. And Brodie just lets the pass go through him. Just for no reason should that have actually happened. Like, the Avs should have been on a 5-on-3, and McKinnon was very clearly handing this puck off. Brodie just watches it go down ice. Everyone stops playing. And then there's this weird, like, half second where there's panic in all of those four Toronto defenders. Mitch Marner tries to get back. I can't remember who the net front defenseman was. It was Jake McCabe. Jake McCabe's the net front defenseman. And both of those guys realize, oh no, we didn't touch the puck. And who's standing in the middle of the hash marks? It's the second hottest player. Well, I suppose third hottest because Nate continues to score. Third hottest player on the Avs in terms of scoring, Jonathan Drouin. The guy is always in the right spot at the right time. So I would call that, while it's not a bounce, that is the first bounce that the Avs got. Something that went their way that should not have gone their way. And then the second goal happens, which is yet another bounce where Mikko Rantanen gets cross-checked in the middle of the ice or tripped. There's no call on that play. And the Avs are hoping that they're going to get a power play. The hand doesn't go up. Shot goes through, hits a body, and Mikko just gets up, and he's the only one who knows where the puck is. It's in between 6 sets of feet, and he puts it home. So 2 of the bad bounces that went against you, either the one that goes off of Manson's chest or the one that hops over Devon Taves' stick, both of those have now come back in your favor. And all you have to do is you're in a 1-0 hockey game at this point, and you've been carrying the play. When they went down 3-0, I did not feel as though that they were the second best team on the ice. I went, this has just been what the Avs have been doing all season, where you look at a set of 20 minutes and you go, well, why are they tied? Or why are they not up by 2 or 3? And then a game like this where you go, well, how are they down 3? The good news about this team is that in recent games, in their most recent, let's call it 15 or so games, they have found a way to overcome those bad bounces or self-inflicted wounds.
I'm rewatching the Jonathan Drouin power play goal right now, and it's just over 5 minutes into the second period. The Leafs were out shooting the Avs 18-10. I do think that Toronto was slightly outplaying them. This is such a weird play, though. I mean, Ross Colton clearly gets high sticked off the draw. Play continues. What is TJ Brodie doing? What is that? I mean, the whistle didn't blow. The Avs are still moving the puck. He avoids it. You can't assume why avoid that puck?
His brain just broke. Because it was such a weird play. You are in defensive mode right there. And what I can assume is that Brodie knew that a player got high sticked behind him. So I suppose in the back of his mind, there may have been something, and this is subconscious. He's not actively thinking about this at the time. There could have been a subconscious thought going through McCabe's mind that as McKinnon very clearly gives up on that puck, what may have gone through his head was, oh, well, the play's dead. Well, there's an injured player. The referees must have called it dead because Nate clearly stopped playing.
Nate does stand, but Nate stands up. But right before that, Cale is moving the puck.
Cale's moving.
Like play is continuing.
Cale is moving.
Was this just an all-time deke by Nathan McKinnon that got in TJ Brodie's head?
No, this is not that was not intentional whatsoever. His brain broke. He was in the middle. That was a hard reset. Someone pulled the plug and then put it back in. That is the only thing that happened. And it was the coincidence of events of Brody watching Makar go over, and then because you can see this, if we're going to break this down like frame by frame, as the puck gets to McKinnon, Brody is watching McKinnon. And I guarantee there's someone on the ice in a white jersey screaming, "Give him the puck!" I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Because he looks at McKinnon and body language tells Brody everything there. The play must have been dead, and I just didn't hear the whistle.
Yeah. Nathan McKinnon is the only Av who acts like this play is dead because, that pass down low to Ross Colton is as if a whistle blew or something. Like, Nate, that's not a Nate pass. That's like, oh, play is stopping. That type. So
look at everyone else on the ice though. As Nate gives up on this puck, everybody stops. The first player to react is Ross Colton. The second player to react is Jonathan Drouin, and almost at the exact same time, Jake McCabe realized, "Holy crap, we're still playing hockey." I've never seen anything quite like that.
Weirdest goal. Yeah, like half the players knew it was live. The other half, just Nate didn't. Very weird. But you're up 3-0 in this spot if you're Toronto, and to allow a goal like that, that's the type of goal that can spark a comeback because it's one that really shouldn't have happened. Like, you almost self-inflicted yourself there, and if you're gonna do that against one of the better teams in the NHL, that can start a snowball effect, and the Avs would go on to score 4 unanswered after that, 5 unanswered in total.
It was an odd game in which the last team to get the bounce seemed like it was going to win, and that just happened to be the Avs. They were the last team to get the bounce. Cogliano, when he comes into the zone, has a shot that gets kind of blocked. He tips a Josh Manson shot, and instead of that puck continuing down ice to the net, it just drops right at his feet. So they got 2 bounces on the Cogliano goal, and again, everyone's in the right spot, right time. You have to be Johnny on the spot to make sure that those bounces end up in the back of the net. But if you take that shot 10 times, it's probably going through 8, maybe, but it hits Cogliano in the hip, and it drops right on his twig, and Martin Jones has no idea where that thing is because there's 4 other bodies in front of him. He's expecting that puck to be on net or through the short side because that's where Manson was aiming. Right-handed shot, shooting over to the right hand or the left-handed catching glove. And again, I thought the Avs just got the last bounce. And the same thing happened on a McKinnon goal. Like, this was a game of bounces.
Mm-hmm. Good awareness. I mean, there was a little bit of a bounce, but McKinnon kind of picks that puck up in the D zone when it falls right in his feet, and then he speeds up the ice. And then who did he deke to the ice? That he puts on the brakes. He circles back a little bit. He's patient. I know
it's the back checking. It's Brody.
It's TJ Brody.
TJ Brody.
Oh, man, he had a Nick Hague game. We talked about Nick Hague after the Knights game. TJ Brody was the Nick Hague for the Maple Leafs tonight. Still sick move by McKinnon, and nothing special, but it shows his patience. And it's such a relief. Now it's a 3-3 game, so Nathan McKinnon doesn't have to force the issue. He can play smart. So the hesitation to make Brody fall flat on his face is great. And then Mitch Marner tries to get in front and block that shot, but I mean, there's no chance. There's no chance. And he also kind of creates a little screen for his own goaltender, Martin Jones. Nathan McKinnon deserves to win the Hart Trophy. I mean, to do what he did tonight without Valeri Nichushkin, he just continues to do it as the Avs are undermanned. And then obviously, I mean, shout out Jonathan Drouin as well. I mean, his ability to fill in, and I know that they've been playing him more on the top line of late, even with Nichushkin playing, but no, that was a legit performance from Jonathan Drouin tonight. How much does he play? He plays 25 minutes. I mean, for a guy making $800K from where he was start of season to now, he's playing 25 minutes with a goal and an assist and is fitting in seamlessly with Rantanen and McKinnon. It's everything you could have wanted.
It's a wild return on investment. Say what you want about the offseason for the Avs and not addressing second line center. The fact that you hit this well on Drouin, it masks any wrongdoing or any shortcoming in terms of free agency signings or trades. Like, the fact that you're getting that for league veteran minimum is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So Johansson at $4 million a year playing 15 minutes. Like, I thought Johansson was better tonight. I think he fits better as a bottom six guy. So, like, you can look at the $4 million and go, that's really hurting the Avs. They could be using that $4 million somewhere else. Like, you could also look at Drouin and say, you're getting what, $3.5 million worth of value, maybe $3 million worth of value on that player right now. So if we're looking at this as like a sabermetric type of thing, the Avs have made the money work.
And I think Ross Colton continues to look like a great addition. He was great filling in for Nichushkin on the power play tonight. He assumed Valeri Nichushkin's role. He played on power play 1, so he got 3 minutes and 46 seconds of power play time on ice, played 19 minutes tonight. He had a goal and an assist as in addition to Drouin's goal and an assist. Colton's was an empty netter. Almost scored an empty netter shortly before, but hit the post. For some reason, Ross Colton has a way of missing good looks sometimes, but he plays hard. And I was glad that he got a second look at that empty netter. So even though I thought Drouin was the true dude who stepped up without Nichushkin tonight, Colton on the power play also. He was step-up guy number 2 tonight. Both those guys, great with no Nichushkin.
I loved the celebration from Colton, too. When he scores it, you see his little left hand, and he just, like, waves at the net. Like,
he's
just son of a gun.
He's got some bag in him, but in, like, a good way. The Avs are gonna need that in the playoffs.
They certainly will. And that is the reason why Colton is on this team. It is to do exactly what he did against the Avs, to piss players off, to drag his team into the fight. If he doesn't score in the regular season, I really don't care. I care about what he does in the postseason. You signed him to a long-term deal because of what he can do between the months of April and early June.
Mm-hmm.
Avs win 5-3. They score 5 unanswered. Beat the Maple Leafs. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. It's Between the Pipes on Altitude Sports Radio.
Rebound picked up by Marner. Centering feed off the stick of Georgiev as McKinnon one-hands it to center ice. Jonathan Drouin in stride. Drouin leads it for Mikko Rantanen as McKinnon holds up far circle. McKinnon a shot. He scores! He is the Mac attack, and he is back in Toronto, Jack. With 3:25 to go in the third period, Nathan McKinnon scores his third goal ever in this building. And the Avalanche have scored 4 straight. Sometimes it is just incredible what Nathan McKinnon can do.
Nathan McKinnon's got 69 points on the season.
Very nice. So does Nikita Kucherov. But come on. Who are you taking right now?
I'm taking Nathan McKinnon any day of the week.
If you called Tampa and said Kucherov for McKinnon straight up, they would say yes.
Brisebois says, what drugs have you taken?
I mean,
Who spiked your drink, Chris?
You'd have to, especially because Tampa... Do they have another bad? No, they had the Ducks tonight, and they beat the Ducks 5-1. But overall, Tampa's been just okay. Connor McDavid, I think the last odds I saw, it was like McKinnon and McDavid were tied for the odds to win the Hart. And obviously, the Oilers are playing well right now. But, I mean, it should be considered one that, you know, Nathan McKinnon and Nikita Kucherov have 69 points. Then Panarin's at 58 and tied with JT Miller for third. And McDavid's at 56. He's 8th in the NHL. So it's not even close right now who the Hart Trophy winner is.
You could argue that the value that Connor McDavid has brought to the resurgent Oilers, scoring at a 1.56 point per game pace right now, which is second only to McKinnon's 1.60. You could make the argument, third to McKinnon at 1.60 and Kucherov leading the league at 1.64 right now. You could make the argument that because Edmonton was so bad and because McDavid was so bad, when McDavid plays well, Edmonton wins hockey games. You can make that argument.
Yes, you could. You could.
Should you?
But I don't
No.
think that's a... Oh, and I understand you're just kind of playing devil's advocate here, but that's not the winning argument. The winning argument is Nathan McKinnon has 13 more points than McDavid, and his team has been consistently good all season long with an undermanned roster. And tonight, without Valeri Nichushkin, man, I mean, is another great example because I legit was concerned when I saw Nichushkin was out sick before the game. Miles Wood is still sick. The dude is still sick. How long has Miles Wood been sick for? Feels like a month now.
Sounds like RSV. Everyone, they're all saying like illness or flu. RSV's been going through the state. That's what it is. It's got to be that.
What,
Come on.
what is RSV?
It's just a virus that's out there that makes you feel
is
like
it new?
crap
Is it
and-
new COVID?
No, it's not new COVID.
Okay.
It's been around.
Okay.
I had it
Well-
I got it last year at the Super Bowl, and it was a vengeful 2.5 days to my, colon.
I'm surprised that the Avs haven't gotten hit harder.
Nelly looks at me and goes, "Oh no."
I'm surprised that they've
Oh,
actually
good God!
gotten kind of lucky because
Great
once this
keeper.
thing starts to spread, Johansson had it. Wood has had it longer than Johansson, it feels like. Now Nichushkin's sick. Like, I'm assuming this is all the same strain. These are teammates in the locker room. I'm just assuming they all got it from each other. I think they're lucky, actually, that they haven't gotten hit harder.
What are your thoughts on Alexander Georgiev tonight? He gets into the NHL's All-Star game via the fan vote. Still sub 900 save percentage on the season, but leads the league in terms of goaltending wins. Has been better as of late. And tonight getting his 24th win in 36 starts. He's up to an .898 save percentage, 289 goals against. And tonight puts up 26 saves on 29 shots.
Like in a vacuum, on paper, I'm surprised he's an all-star. That being said, I am a fan of Alexander Georgiev. I'm a Georgiev truther. I believe in him. But yeah, the numbers don't quite say all-star. That being said, we have talked this season. We've been asked this season, can Alexander Georgiev be the guy for the Avs? And one of my arguments has been, well, in the Western Conference, you don't have Vasilevsky, you don't have Shesterkin, you don't have Sorokin. I think it's the goaltending matchups are a little easier in the West, and I think that this is part of the reason why Alexander Georgiev makes the All-Star game, because there's not that many great goaltenders in the Western Conference.
Yeah, but the great goaltenders in the West are in the Central. All of the great goalies in the West are in the Central. Hellebuck, Saros, Demko. Sorry, Demko's in the Pacific. He's with he's with
and
the Canucks.
And Demko was a fan vote winner as well.
Okay, so Demko gets in as he should have, and then Ottinger's also in the Central. So you do have, I would argue, you have 3 goalies in the Central that I would make all-stars before I would have made Georgiev an all-star.
So it looks like I'm looking.
Also, I don't want him to add any more minutes onto his plate as of this point.
So I'm looking at the All-Star rosters right now. I'm just kind of skimming them. Ottinger made it. He was, I assume, Dallas. He was the Dallas representative. Like McKinnon was the Avs representative, the one for each team that everybody got initially. Hellebuck appears to have been that for Winnipeg. I don't see UC Saros on here, so he didn't make it.
So who's representing Nashville?
Who's representing Nashville? Philip Forsberg got the nod.
Sure, I guess.
I guess the Avs have more fans than the Predators have fans.
Probably.
But am I taking Saros over Georgiev today? Yes.
But not by much.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I don't think the difference is that great, though. I really don't. I think Georgiev is due for a numbers increase coming up. There's regressing to the mean and progressing to the mean. I think the mean is above where Georgiev's numbers have been.
The only Western Conference netminder that I think is a stark upgrade is Connor Hellebuck.
Sure.
That in terms of the Western Conference goalies right now. And sure, guys can get hot. Like Thatcher Demko has been hot this season. Jake Ottinger was hot at the end of last season. UC Saros can go on streaks where he gets Nashville to be relevant, right? Like they can do those things. But if you're looking at the greater body of work, the only netminder in the West that when I'm comparing Georgiev to a list of, 20 other dudes, the one that is like stark, crazy, night and day difference is Hellebuck over Georgiev. Well, I think the other ones are, it depends what type of team is in front of you on any given night. Hellebuck can win you a series.
Well, he won a Vezina a couple years ago.
He'll win one this year.
He was just one of the 3 stars of the month in the NHL for the month of December. So he's the one proven commodity in the regular season. Because he's been okay in the playoffs. But yes, he's earned, just based on resume, the nod is number 1 in the rest. Ottinger's the upside guy, though. Like, Ottinger's the guy with the highest ceiling. But then I think Georgiev, I know Thatcher Demko is playing well for Vancouver, but, this is the best season he's had in his career. Is he out-kicking his coverage while Georgiev has been under-kicking his coverage?
That's probably closer to the truth than any of these like wildly, polar opposite arguments that people make on any given week. Brett asks, do the Avs take a look at Elvis Merzlikins now that he wants out of Columbus? I would say they'd probably kick the tires on him, but you do have to look at Merzlikins' contract. He's signed through the year 2027 at a $5.4 million cap hit. The Avs like to keep their goaltending room cheaper rather than paying out the nose for those guys. So I don't believe that they would trade for Merzlikins again because of what the player has said. Elvis came out and said, listen, we need to have something needs to change in Columbus because he went from being the number one, the bona fide number one as a Blue Jacket to being scratched 4 out of the last 5 games and being the third netminder on the depth chart. What he said was, I don't want to back up anywhere. I need a new start, but I won't be a backup. Unless you think that you're trading Georgiev for Merzlikins, which I think is
no, Georgiev's better than Merzlikins.
He is a better
and I like
goaltender.
Merzlikins.
So do I. He's a better goaltender. At the very, very best, that is a lateral move, and that is making sure that Merzlikins hits every piece of his potential. He's not coming here. If they wanted to bring him in as a backup, sure, but he's paid $5.4 million, which, one, you're not going to be able to make that work, and Merzlikins came out and said, I'm not backing anybody up.
Yeah, it's crazy that he's making 5.4 with 3 years after this season remaining on his deal. Georgiev's 3.4, $2 million cheaper, and I think not only just a little, but like a solid step above.
He's a step above
Merzlikins, and he's making $2 million less. So
he is a step above. The elite goaltending tier of the league goes the Russian 3, Vasilevsky, Sorokin, Shesterkin.
And all in the East, which is good news.
You could argue that the number 1 tier still belongs to Vasilevsky, although I think that we're seeing kind of the end of his dominance. But I'm going to put it into that top tier as the Russian 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you can go down to Hellebuck, Ottinger when he's playing really well, Bobrovsky when he's on, but I think that last year's was the last like true flash in the pan that we're getting from Bob. Yeah, and is there another guy you're going to throw in there as that second tier? Demko, maybe?
You got a bunch of guys like Kochetkov with the Hurricanes.
Not there.
Yeah,
I'll throw Saros in there because I truly believe that UC Saros is still a stud and has many more years of elite goaltending in him. So I'll go Hellebuck, Saros, Ottinger as the next tier, and then Georgiev is right there.
Swayman and Omar, good duo. We just saw Georgiev outduel Swayman.
Yep. So Georgie's a legit top 12 netminder in this league.
He's at least a B+. And guess what? Like if you've got that tier on $3.4 million, you've won.
Right, because what did I just tell you? Like the tiers that I just gave you, there's maybe 5 A goaltenders in the league right now. We've had this conversation over the past couple of seasons on Between the Pipes is we're no longer in the era of like legendary goaltending. We had that in the early 2000s. There was a little bit of it with Henrik Lundqvist and Carey Price.
Sure.
A little bit, you can argue.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can throw Marc-Andre Fleury in there because of the amount of wins that he's had. But you go back to the late 90s and the early 2000s, the Patrick Waugh and Martin Brodeur years. We don't truly have that anymore. It is a couple of guys who are A's and then just a clump of 12 to 15 dudes that can be an A on any night or can be a C. But typically grade out to being a B or a B plus goaltender, which is Alexander Georgiev.
Mm-hmm. Marie texts in, Georgiev's numbers aren't there because the defense hasn't been there all season. Another number I did hear tonight is no goaltender has faced more high danger chances against this season than Alexander Georgiev. Now, I think that the Avs D-core is good for what they are, and what they are is a smaller group. Now, I think they play at a high level for a smaller group, but part of that means that maybe they might get pushed around in the deep areas a little bit, and Georgiev or whoever the Avalanche goaltender is might see more high-danger chances close to him. So, like I heard that on the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast tonight. A little Chris Cuthbert. Carter Hart. He's had a good season. It was a real nice throwback to hear Cuthbert call Martin Jones tonight because
doesn't hit the same as how did he say Alexander Georgiev?
Oh, it's real. I couldn't even do it justice.
It's not as fun as Martin Jones, or certainly not Carter Hart.
Carter
Hart. Oh, it's so good. Oh.
Cuthbert was on the call for
Give it to me again, Nelly.
Carter Hart.
It's it's phenomenal.
He's the best. He's the best. But yeah, he was on the call for that Avs Sharks series many years ago where Martin Jones was on the Sharks, and that's where Nate Kreckman began his Martin Jones and Cale Makar and Sam Girard bit. So it was good to hear Cuthbert calling a Martin Jones game once again against the Avalanche, although here he is for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Martin Jones has actually been like sneaky okay for Toronto this season, considering they've been a little desperate to find dudes to occupy net for them. So, good. Like Martin Jones you would think that at this stage of his career, Martin Jones, that should have been easy pickings for the Avs, but he was admirable until the Avs started cooking in the second half of this game.
Before we hit our final timeout here, and then we'll come back, we'll give you guys some NHL scoreboard updates, give you some betting lines that we like tomorrow around the league. Sam Girard came back. Avs have won six of 7 since. Coincidence?
The Avs are now 9.
Oh, it's another good one.
Yeah, you're welcome. I saved those. Yeah, there's one where he says against. It's not the best cut, but against
Girard.
The Avs are now 9-1-1 since Devon Toews said there are some dudes on this team who think they're playing well, but really aren't. They're 9-1-1 since. Their one regulation loss, Prosvetov started, and the Avs still came back and tied the Panthers at 4. And then the other one was the blowing the 3-goal lead in Arizona, losing in overtime.
D-Core drives the bus.
Yeah, Sam Girard back, like you said, Devon Toews. And how has he led by example since calling some teammates out?
He's been very good. Again, he had a weird play where a puck bounces over his twig today, but he has been, I think he's been the most reliable defenseman that the Avs have had. Makar has gone on to say that he thinks he's having an off year, which is like, that's got to be such a slap in the face to the rest of the league. When Cale's like, yeah, I just don't think I'm playing all that well this year. No. And you turn around, the dude's got 48 points in 38 games, good for 1.26 points per game played, and he's averaging 24.50 per game in terms of time on ice.
No, you're right. The numbers are still very good.
They're stupid good.
And he's been banged up, and he's played well. Like, I watch Cale, and I never think to myself, oh, he's off. But just for whatever reason, I think the numbers could be even better.
Yeah, I could look at him at this point in the season having like 60 points.
Because
scoring, I don't know, 13, 14, or 15. Then you look at that and you go, like, Cale's hitting on all cylinders.
It's those elite stretches, right? Like, McKinnon's on an elite stretch
for the whole season.
2 months now. Nichushkin has been on an elite stretch. We haven't seen that elite stretch from Cale yet, and from Mikko Rantanen either, but both are playing well. Cale, though, I watch him play, and I at no point think to myself, oh, he's off. I just think for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet, but then
the numbers are still really good.
He's got 10 points in his last 10 games. Like the dude just continues to rack up points. 1, 2, 5, 8. Sorry, 8 points in his last 10 games.
Yeah, that's how good he is. That even when he's not blowing you away, he's still just so sound and solid and smart and plays the game the right way.
Avs win 5-3, 5 unanswered goals. They get help up and down the lineup tonight. They beat the Maple Leafs. First game of a 5-game road trip where they will see the Montreal Canadiens coming up next. They'll go to Ottawa, to Boston, and to Philly before coming back home to see the Washington Capitals and the LA Kings. We'll tell you what happened around the NHL on the other side, get you some Bet the Pipes, and then let you enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. No more football after tonight's game. The Chiefs are blowing out the Dolphins, but we do have more football coming up tomorrow. Bills game has been postponed, so no longer being played tomorrow. They're trying to get that one done on Monday, possibly even push it to Tuesday. And your first game today was Cleveland getting blown out by Houston and a rookie quarterback. NHL scores are coming up next.
O'Connor, here's a shot from Cogliano. That pinball's wide to the corner. Near side point, Josh Manson, he lets it go. Blocked in front. Cogliano! He scores! Hey, Mambo! Mambo Cogliano! Born in Toronto, he scores in Toronto! With 12:25 to go in the third period, Andrew Cogliano has his fourth goal of the season. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is a tie hockey game. Cogliano, after a hard-working shift where he got the puck to the point, it was sent towards the net front, and it fell back to him in between the circles. He puts it over the right shoulder of Martin Jones and in. And the Avalanche, once upon a dime, down 3-0, have tied the game at 3 goals apiece.
Avs would go on to score the next 2 in the third. They win 5-3. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. They continue to get very important points as the Central Division's really tough, and Winnipeg is smoking hot. They won't lose. Dallas has been floundering, but they're still just a couple of wins behind you right now. Every single one of these wins, as Winnipeg has not fallen off, continues to keep you in the hunt for first place. It used to be a 3-game cushion that Winnipeg had on the Avs in terms of games played. It's now down to just 1. And the Avs trail by just a single point.
You wonder if Winnipeg can keep this up. Like, they just lost at home to the Flyers 2-0. The game before that, they were down 1-0 to Chicago and barely came back and won 2-1 in the third. What goes up must come down, man. And you are what you are on paper, and they're good, but they're not this good.
Let's go around the NHL slate. Bunch of games today because we just have 2 tomorrow, and we'll get into those 2 and get a couple of bets on them, although I'm not in love with any of the lines. Yotes beat the Wild 6-0. The Wild are falling off. They will continue to fall off. They are in cap hell right now. They're not healthy. They're going to be... Yeah, Minnesota
they were like
will
minus
be,
140 favorites at home tonight.
The world has not caught on to what you have caught on with the Yotes.
Well, there is that, but man, that's...
Minnesota's not a good hockey team.
Okay, they played last night. They
Correct. They lost 3-2
to Philly. Yeah, sometimes Friday, because there's only like 2 NHL games. I confuse my Thursday and Friday sometimes. So second night of a back-to-back, but damn.
Yeah. Minnesota's going to be a team that has ping pong balls going.
Yeah.
Preds beat the Islanders 3-1. Alexandre Carrier had this like wild goal where he's on his stomach and flailing around and scores to put the Predators up by 2 over the Isles in that final period. Bruins beat the Blues on the road 4-3 in overtime, and the Flyers continue to roll 2-0 as they shut out the Jets. I don't know the name of the starter, Sam Ersson. For the Flyers tonight, gets a 3-0 shutout. He's a 24-year-old from Sweden.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him either, but I have seen him. He's gotten a few nods this year. He might be okay.
Kraken beat the Blue Jackets 7-4 this evening. They get 2 goals from Jared McCann. 2 goals from Ivan Provorov are not enough to get the Jackets, as they are 13-21-9 now on the season. Hurricanes beat the Pens 3-2 in overtime. Brett Pesce getting the overtime winner there as Antti Raanta back up with the big club after being sent down on waivers, not being claimed. 38 saves on 40 shots against.
And back to Seattle, now 9 straight wins for them. They were my Bet the Pipes pick the other night. They went into D.C., Washington, and won. They win again tonight in Columbus. Favorable opponents, but they're on the road, and they've won 9 straight.
Lightning get a 5-1 win over the Ducks at home. They get 3 assists from Nikita Kucherov. Steven Stamkos has a 3-point night himself, 2 goals, including 1 on the power play as they hammer the Ducks. The Ducks, again, they're falling off. They're young. I like their stable of players, but they're 2 or 3 years from being truly good right now. Trevor Zegras hurt again. You had trade rumors that were flying around about him a little while ago. The Oilers get a 2-1 victory in overtime this evening. Evan Bouchard getting a power power play goal there in the overtime period to win that one. For Edmonton, Samuel Montembeault makes 39 saves on 41 opportunities, and the Devils beat the Panthers 4-1 tonight. Nico Dawes 36 saves on 37 shots.
Yeah, and Edmonton has won 10 straight now. So 10 straight wins for Edmonton, 9 straight wins for Seattle. They both have 47 points and are both now 1 point back of a team who did not play today. No, they did play today. They were in Detroit. They lost 5-3 in Detroit. The LA Kings have now lost 8 in a row. How about that? 8 straight losses for the Kings. That kind of snuck up on us out of nowhere. And the Oilers and Kraken have won 10 and 9 in a row, respectively.
Sens get a 5-4 win over the Sharks today. The Canucks in a barn burner. Not really. 1-0 shutout victory on the road over the Sabres. Thatcher Demko continues to pace himself this year with a 26-save shutout, and he outduels Jukka-Pekka Luukkonen of the Sabres. Caps beat the Rangers 3-2. They scored 2 goals in the third period after trailing for the vast majority of that game, and after 20 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, the Flames currently hold a 2-0 lead. Blake Coleman, his 19th of the season, scoring the second goal as Nazem Kadri scored his 14th to open up that match.
Yeah, no Jack Eichel tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he's being evaluated for a lower body injury as the injuries are now piling up for the Vegas Golden Knights. And, man, look, good win for Vancouver today, 1-0 in Buffalo, but that is one of those, like when you're winning 1-0 on the road, credit to your defense for sure, but that's one of those, hey, we're just playing really sound hockey right now. But it's a 1-0 road win. It's nice. And they're playing well. And now they're going to get the benefit of Vegas being banged up, the Kings losing 8 in a row. Vancouver's on the verge of not just pulling away with this division, but racing away with it. Hell, it wouldn't surprise me, actually, if the Oilers and Kraken start knocking on the door of that division, actually.
Oh, the Oilers they're much better than what they showed at the beginning of this season. But again, I don't think they're a threat to win it all. They just simply can't with how that roster is constructed and what their goaltending looks like. All right, let's get some bet the pipes going. You won your bets yesterday. I'm struggling right now. I got to get back on it. And there's 2 games to be played tomorrow, one at 11 a.m., the other one at 5 p.m. The first one is a rematch of the game that we saw today, Capitals at the Rangers. Rangers lost 3-2 today. Rangers are minus 225 favorites. Washington plus 190 on the road. Both teams, obviously, second leg of a back-to-back. The Leafs, second leg of a back-to-back, will host the idle Red Wings at home. Toronto is minus 185 on the money line tomorrow. I'm not a huge fan of any of the full game lines, but what I do love, I'm going to take Toronto first period 3-way tomorrow at plus 130. I think they're going to come out after falling flat on their faces in the last 2 periods against the Avs. They'll have a little bit of a fire underneath their butts playing an original 6 team. It's a little bit of a rivalry there. I can't guarantee you Toronto's going to win the game because I don't believe in their defense, but I do believe that they'll come out and score plus 130 to win the first period.
So we got a rematch, Rangers and Caps. By the way, just 2 games that I don't like tomorrow. But we just saw an upset in D.C. The Capitals coming back and beating the Rangers 3-2. Charlie Lindgren in net for the Caps. Jonathan Quick in net for the Rangers. So it looks like tomorrow it'll be Darcy Kemper on the road at Madison Square Garden against Igor Shesterkin. I don't think Igor's been amazing this season. There were 5 total goals scored today. A lot of times in these back-to-back scenarios, like if you see an under in one, you might get an over in the other. Totals at 6. We know Darcy Kemper can allow some goals, even though he's solid. I'll take the over 6 at minus 110.
Really?
Yeah. I think Shesterkin in net will throw people off the scent. I think that only 5 goals being scored in today's game will throw people off the scent. I think we'll get at least 1 more goal than we did today, tomorrow morning.
That'll do it for us. Just 2 hockey games tomorrow. Avs will take on the Montreal Canadiens. Coming up on Monday, afternoon. 5 p.m. is your puck drop. 4:30 p.m. right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 as the Avs are in the Bell Center to take on a plucky Canadiens team. They should win this game going away, but Montreal can come up there. They've got some good young talent. They like their netminders in either Montembeault or Primo, so it might be of a trap game is what this kind of feels like, because you're probably looking ahead to the next two games that you've got against Ottawa and certainly against Boston. It might be a little trappy, but again, 5 p.m., Spring and Albion 4, Between the Pipes starting at 8. It is freezing cold. If you've got dogs, you're walking them around, make sure you are attentive to their feet. Don't take them out there. They get cold too. All those things. So stay warm. If you're skiing, drive safe. For Mark Springer, for Steve Nelson, I'm Alex Ryanemi. Avs win. We'll talk to you on Martin Luther King Day.